Well, I guess this qualifies as another green garage segment. We're going to talk about cleaning oil coolers and hydraulic systems and the most environmentally friendly way to do that. With me once again is our chief fabricator, Jim Hall. Jim Hall is the guy that cleverly installs a lot of this stuff. And Tony Blazek. Tony, how you doing? Good. Tony makes a product called a hot flush, and it's got nothing to do with colonics. It's about a very efficient, very environmentally safe way to clean oil coolers and hydraulic systems. Now, you were telling me here in California that a lot of trouble with solvents. Explain that.
Well, with the green push down here, nobody wants to use any more solvent than they absolutely have to.
Right.
And with our machine, you don't use any solvent. You're scrubbing the inside of coolers just using automatic transmission fluid.
Yep.
Whether it be an engine oil cooler or a transmission cooler.
So in the old days, you take like an oil cooler, you just run solvent through it, and you clean it out, and then you have the filthy solvent, and you throw that away, and of course that's bad for the environment. Yours, you just what, recycle the same fluid over and over again?
Reuse the automatic transmission fluid.
Okay. And why automatic transmission fluid? Why is that more efficient than a solvent?
Automatic transmission fluid, especially when it's heated as our machine does, it's got a lot of detergent in it,
right,
and it carries debris very well.
Okay. Explain what this is here.
General Motors gave me these. These are pre-assembly cooler pieces, components. As you look at these coolers over here, these are a stacked plate cooler system, right, and the thing you're looking at there is the actual weave that's inside of the cooler.
This looks more like a filter than a cooler.
They act as a filter because there's such a fine weave in there. The thing is that the oil has to make contact with as much metal as possible.
Oh,
so to create that surface area, they have that weave. It works great to conduct
right,
the heat, but it also...
So the fluid flows between it. There's no small holes here. It doesn't flow inside it,
right,
like you would in a radiator. It's just flowing between the weave, right? And
right,
that's how it works?
It's good. Most people consider it as like a honeycomb weave.
Okay, very cool.
We both have transmission coolers, and we also have race car coolers, engine oil coolers. This happens to be an oil cooler. We don't know anything about it. Eventually we're going to flush it with the machine, see what came out of it. This cooler came out of a 40-year-old Lotus. And I think it'd be nice to hook this up and let's flush it and see what comes out of it.
Yeah, because basically if you can buy a second-hand cooler and flush it out, it's as good as a new one, right? I mean,
right.
There's no reason it wouldn't be.
Well, and the other thing, we have engines blow up, we have all kinds of things. It'd really be terrible to put this back in a car, right, and ruin a new engine.
Right, exactly.
So, it's something we want to do actually on kind of a regular basis.
Okay, so we'll hook this up and we'll see what comes out of it.
Wonderful.
This is very exciting if you're a guy. If your wife is watching, she will have no interest in seeing what comes out of this cooler. I'm not being sexist, I'm just saying my wife would have no interest what's in here. Me, I'm fascinated by this. And how does your unit work? What's the basic idea behind it here?
The basic principle behind it is we use, like I said, we have the regular automatic transmission fluid that's just dumped in this compartment here. And we hook up the two hose ends to the cooler lines, or the cooler itself. You turn the machine on, it heats the oil as it's cleaning. It heats it up to 193 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. That's close to normal operating temperature to get that cooler like it was when it was new, because the little weave inside that cooler will, actually the metal will expand up to a few thousandths, and when it cools down it'll trap that debris in there, so we have to heat it. Okay. And then we get it up to where it was at normal operating temperature, run the fluid through at, this machine pumps 4.5 gallons per minute, pump it through the system. Every 3 seconds for a quarter of a second, the fluid instantly changes the direction of flow. So we're doing a scrubbing effect on the inside. Okay. And why 193 degrees? It doesn't seem that hot. I would have thought 300 degrees or something like that. Is there a reason you go to 193? Safety.
Right.
And another thing is later model vehicles have thermal bypass valves in them. So the oil doesn't even go through the cooler until it reaches a certain temperature. So if you, of about 180 degrees. Right. So if you try to flush the cooler system cold, it'll go through the lines, but it won't go through the cooler at all.
Okay. Tony, can you show us sort of visually how the fluid moves through the lines? Because I know we can't see it inside this cooler.
Now, with this, you can see the oil flowing through the cooler.
Right.
And the reverse is achieved with the pneumatic valve inside, and that's where these air bubbles are coming from.
That's change direction when I hear that. Yeah. Okay.
Now, if I add air to the system, you can see it a little better.
Yeah.
You can see the shooting backwards to scrub the inside of the system.
And how often do you have to change the transmission fluid here?
About every 30 flushes.
Wow, okay.
So
and any automatic transmission fluid, do you recommend
Any automatic
Dextron or anything?
just cheap automatic transmission.
Just cheap automatic transmission. Go to Walmart or something, buy that cheap stuff. And
Yep, the machine's pretty cut and dry. You got the main power switch, a shut-off timer, pressure gauge, temperature gauge, and then we even have a flow meter on the side, so you
Cool.
can see the flow as it's going through the cooler, and you can see your progress.
In a shop application other than ours, like here we might use this once or twice a month. I mean, if you've got an automotive shop, how much savings would that be?
We have an aerospace company that spent thousands of dollars a month in the solvent they were using to flush coolers. With our machine, it's the same thing. They just use the transmission fluid, and they don't have to replace it, so it saved them thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, even in a regular automotive shop, where they're spending hundreds of dollars replacing coolers, with our machine, they don't have to replace those coolers.
Right, right.
I can also imagine that one comeback would probably pay for the machine on some of these vehicles.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That, one transmission ruined because there's some debris in it.
Yeah.
And not to mention how much that mad customer costs, too.
Well, let's take a look. Let's hook this up and see how she goes.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, turn it on. And how long would this normally sit for?
To run?
Yeah.
You'd let it run 15 minutes, and then just let it do its job. You don't have to
Okay.
babysit it. You just walk away and let it work.
And you already can feel the heat as it,
Oh, yeah.
as
I
the
can
hot
feel heat
fluid's coming through.
Yeah,
Now, it will take 10 minutes to get up to full temperature.
yeah. Right.
But the nice thing is, you don't have to preheat it. You can just hook it up and
Right,
let
right.
it heat while it's flushing.
Well, about 10 minutes has gone by. It got up to about 170. We never quite reached 193, right?
Right, and
Okay.
now it's cooled back down a little bit.
Okay, we shut it off for a few minutes. Let's turn it off and see what we did in that 10 minutes. Now, normally you might leave this on there, what, an hour or something?
The nice thing about our machine is it lets you know when it's done cleaning.
Oh, okay.
And what I mean by that is we're going to open it up now, we're going to check the cleaning screen, and we'll see the contamination. And if there is contamination, we clean it and we put it back in and we run it again.
And in here would be where our contaminants would be, right?
Right, this is our little trap that catches all the cleaning screen. This is a 28 micron cleaning screen.
Okay.
In the bottom of the reservoir, we have a 10 micron filter also.
That's our 40-year-old. Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot of metal particles that would obviously eat your motor, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Boy, that's pretty
Boy,
amazing.
yes.
Yeah, that's pretty dirty.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now,
I figured there'd be some dirt, but that's
yeah.
a lot of
In a typical
debris.
guy's apartment, that would not be much. If you're like a single guy, that wouldn't even be anything. But if you're a motor, especially a 1600cc Lotus motor, oh boy, that's enough to pretty much put you in the doghouse. So what we do now is we clean this.
We take the screen out.
Take the
we
screen
clean
out.
it. You can clean it with just soap and water.
Okay.
It's a stainless steel screen, and then
Okay.
you take your screen after it's cleaned, and then
Okay.
just put it back in, run it again.
Okay.
If the next time you check it, if it still looks like this and clean, then you're done. But if you're
Okay.
getting any more contamination,
We'll put it
do
back in.
again.
Let's see just how clean we can get this thing. Okay, well, let's see. I guess about an hour has gone by, 189 degrees. Let's see how clean we are now. Just shut it off?
Yep. Shut it off, and then we
Okay.
hit the clean out button,
Or hit the clean out button. Okay.
blowing the oil through.
Okay. Let's open it up and see what we got. Everything's nice and toasty. It's a pretty neat machine because you never really know by flushing whether you're getting everything out.
Right, you can't look inside of it.
And look, there's still some in there. So you can see from that screen, that's all stuff that would really just kill your motor.
Make valves and all kinds of stuff, just grind to nothing.
So we don't know whether this oil cleaner will ever actually be clean, but we will we'll keep it on there, maybe for a few more hours. But you get the general idea. I mean, when it gets it clean, it gets it really, really clean, and you don't have those problems. When your screen looks like this, then you know you're
done.
Tony, hey, thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
Really
Thank you very
appreciate
much,
it.
eh?
Thank you very much. And remember, it's Hot Flush. And what is your website?
www.hotflusher.com.
Hotflusher.com.
Hotflusher.com.
Okay, and there's a number on there. Hey, thanks for showing us this. This is
Absolutely.
great. Green Garage.